I so wish that when I first started out in my YouTube journey, somebody literally shot this video that you're about to watch right now. If this video existed back then, it would have saved me. And I'm sure somebody has said it along the way, but I just never watched it, I was never exposed to it. But today in this video here is going to be one of the most important videos if you're thinking about starting a channel, if your channel has got less than 1,000 subscribers, what it is that you need to be doing now if you want to be able to save yourself a ton of headaches, and if you want to be able to shortcut and accelerate your path to just building a successful channel. So here's the thing, if you take a look at my journey, you probably know this, okay, but I was late to the YouTube game. And for a really long time, you can see like I barely got any results for a really long time. And the truth is, it wasn't because I wasn't consistent in content creation. In fact, back in even 2018, I was posting content, but I just didn't know exactly how to create content based on what YouTube wants, based on what how the algorithm works. And until I started doing this recently, you could see that the real growth only happened in the recent months. And you know what the crazy thing is? It actually took me about 7 years to get my first 1,000 YouTube subscribers. Sounds a little bit embarrassing, but it took me a year to go from 1,000, 10,000, and another year to go from 10,000 to 100,000. So the question is, what happened? And today in this video, you're going to realize why that initial 1,000 subscribers to get the critical mass is the hardest, and why in this video here, if I can get you past that initial first 1,000 subscribers, which is the hardest barrier of it all, and that's why most people quit before they even reach the milestone, I know I'll be able to help you save years of the learning curve. So I want to start off by giving you a little bit of motivation to show you like one of the biggest YouTubers out there today. And you probably know that's Mr. Beast. And Mr. Beast today, he has got 62.5 million subscribers. And if you take a look at all of his videos, he's got like, millions of views per video, right? Like 50 hours being buried alive, 85 million views. He's got all these ridiculous videos with ridiculous amount of views. And here's what many people don't know. You see, just 5 years ago, Mr. Beast, before the millions of subscribers, Mr. Beast only had 8,000 subscribers on his channel. And this is just 5 years ago. And on top of that, he will tell you that in his journey, in his first 100 videos, he did not reach 1,000 subscribers from his first 100 videos. And it seems like this trial and error is something that most producers and creators go through if they're just trying to figure things out on their own. And today in this video, I'm going to walk you through how do you get past that barrier. How do you create content that is going to allow your work to be discovered? What are some of the things that is absolutely crucial if you want these videos to be discovered based on giving what YouTube wants and the algorithm, so that you don't have to make these painful mistakes as well? Okay, so I'm going to walk you through what does it really take to get 1,000 subscribers, and knowing what it is that I know today, what would I do differently so that I would no longer have to go through years of painful trial and error. And it begins with this. Okay, I'm going to call this the 5%. Okay, and what does this mean? So if you think about getting your first 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to walk you and show you this one video that I did recently. And this one video that you see over here, it got approximately 100,000 views. Wow! Now, this is one of my better performing videos. And this video over here is to show you a larger sample size of what happens when you get 100,000 views, right? Ballpark, give or take. And you can see based on this one video over here, out of getting 100,000 views, I got approximately 5,000 subscribers. Now, what does this mean? So just based on this sample, and I have a few different videos as well, and I can tell that very roughly, whenever I get 100,000 views, it is very possible that I get 1,000 to 5,000 maybe sometimes even higher subscribers, right? So what does this mean? It means that if you want to get 1,000 subscribers, you want to get at least 20,000 views. So the question is, how do you get 20,000 views? Because if you can get 20,000 views, it would be roughly equal to 1,000 subscribers, depending on that ratio. But this ratio is pretty accurate, as you can see from this one video over here. So the question is, how do you get 20,000 views? Now, this next piece is something I so wish somebody told me when I was first starting out. Because if you think about 5,000 divided by 100,000 views. So if you wanted 5,000 subscribers but 100,000 views, so this would be 5%, right? So the question is, how do you get 20,000 views? And this would be the most important thing, which is begin with the end in mind. Now, what does this mean? You see, most of the time when people shoot videos, here's what I mean, right? When most people shoot videos, most people begin by shooting the video first, and they utilize the strategy of what I call the hope and pray strategy, which is basically, please, gods of the algorithm, please show my video to as many people as possible, only to be disappointed that nobody watches it. And I know that this was true for me when I first started out. I would just create videos and utilize the hope and pray method. But what I didn't realize is that starting out, getting the critical mass, which is always the hardest, a much more powerful way is to begin by thinking about, well, what are people searching for, and how can I create content based on what people are searching for? So by beginning with the end in mind. You see, what YouTube wants is basically these three main things, okay? The algorithm, when it comes to deciding whether they want to be able to show your video to more people, to people who are not subscribed to your channel and recommend your videos, the first thing that they're going to look at is this first thing called the click-through rate. Meaning, out of 100 people that they show or recommend your video to, whether it's on the right-hand side as a recommended video, they want to know what is the percentage of people that will click. Now, the higher your click-through rate is, the more they are going to show it to more people. So the first thing you want to think about is, how do you begin with the end in mind? By creating content that's going to give you a high click-through rate. So one of the things that I realized is two things. In order to increase your click-through rate, you want to be able to do these two things well. The first one is to be able to create content based on keywords that people are searching for. So this is something that I didn't think about when I first started out. When I first started out, I would just create content on Facebook. I would download the video that I post up on Facebook, and I would just put it up on YouTube. Only to realize that, number one, it could do well on Facebook, but it wouldn't do well on YouTube. And I didn't understand why. And the reason why it wouldn't do well is because YouTube, think of YouTube as a search engine. How does a video usually get discovered on YouTube? Well, a video usually gets discovered on YouTube when somebody is either doing a search on Google and a YouTube search result pops up, or when somebody is watching or doing a search on YouTube and your video comes up as a recommended video, right? Those are the main ways a YouTube video usually gets discovered. So what does it mean to begin with the end in mind? You want to begin by first thinking about, well, what are the keywords that your market is searching for, right? So there's many different ways to utilize and find out what these keywords are. I'm going to show you the different tools, and I'm going to walk you through all the different metrics. And if you stay till the end of this video and you fully understand what it is that YouTube wants, and you're able to give them what it is that they want, and you're able to give them these three things here that is absolutely crucial, this is how you'll be able to get this initial 1,000 subscribers fairly easily. Okay, so let's talk about keywords. How do you begin with the end in mind? So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to head back over to my screen, and I'm going to show you and utilize this tool that I use, and it's called TubeBuddy. Now, TubeBuddy is a tool that allows me to think about the different keywords that people are searching for, which, by the way, if you want to be able to utilize this keyword tool, be sure to check it out in my YouTube description box below. But basically, one of the things that I do is, for this tool, I can do keyword research, and I can type in a specific keyword in here. So let's say, for example, let's say I want to talk about Instagram, right? And I type in Instagram, and you notice that right now this autofill is happening right now. And you can see, okay, so there's Instagram Reels, story ideas, followers, web series, right? So all I can do is I can type in Instagram Reels, okay? And now there is like Instagram's Reel songs, tutorial, right? Status, effects. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on explore. Okay, this is to give me different ideas. Okay, so you can see here there is weighted and unweighted. So what does this mean? Okay, first of all, you can see that there is all these different keywords, and this is 17 out of 100. Now, why is that the case? Well, number one, you can see that the search volume is excellent. It's green, right? It's extremely high over here, search volume, right? However, competition, poor. Now, what does it mean? It means that chances are there is a lot of people that is trying to rank for this keyword. So because competition is high, therefore it is red, okay? So it means that, number of videos in search results, that's 34.9 million, right? So what does this mean? It means that if I want to utilize Instagram Reels, I want to be able to maybe go a little bit deeper. So maybe I'll type in Instagram Reels examples. Okay, so what I would do is, you can see now the search volume is less, but competition is much lower, and that's why it's green. Okay, now if you are starting out, that's what I would recommend. I would recommend going for something that has got a lower search volume, that has got less competition, because if you try to go with something that's got a lot of search, but a ton of competition, the odds of you ranking, being a new channel, is going to be relatively low. So what you're going to do is, you're first going to start off by thinking about what are some of these keywords that people in your marketplace is searching for, right? So think about that broad keyword, try to drill it down so that it's a little bit more specific. And once you do that, what's going to happen is, which brings us to the next part of the equation. The next thing you're going to do is you are going to merge your keyword with some sort of, and that's number 2 over here, it has got to have a good hook. Okay, now what does this mean? Well, you can't just have a title, a YouTube title that's just based upon a keyword. Because if you did that, it would be really boring, right? So can you imagine if this video was just called Instagram Reels, and that was it, right? Instagram Reels tutorial, right? It's keyword rich, but it's boring, right? Nobody will want to click on it because it doesn't sound like it's any exciting. However, if it was, right, Instagram Reels tutorial, 5 hacks you probably didn't know, or 3 techniques that I utilize to significantly increase my engagements. So the words like 3 uncommon things, or this 1 unusual technique, those words, they have got 0 search value, right? However, it has got a great hook to it. So ultimately what you want to do is you want to be able to increase your click-through rate by beginning the end in mind, thinking about what are keywords people are searching for, include a good hook and attach it with the keyword that acts as your title, and finally the third ingredient over here would be to have a good thumbnail. Okay, these 3 things, I so wish, I know it sounds like basic, right? And it sounds like it's common sense, but common sense just isn't common practice. And if you do these things, these 3 things here, it's going to increase your click-through rate. Why? Because if you have a thumbnail that's specifically designed so that when people and YouTube is showing it on the recommended or the suggested list of videos, usually if you go with an auto-generated YouTube thumbnail, YouTube is just going to take a random moment in your video of you like pretty much looking stupid. It's going to be like you with your eyes half closed like this, right? It could be of you just midway, something like that, right? So what you want is you want to be able to utilize a customized thumbnail. So sometimes it could be, right, why do I have these, pictures of me holding up the phone and then kind of like pointing to this, right? It is because it's a thumbnail, right? It's because I want to create a customized thumbnail where you notice the choice of thumbnails we use, the colors are bright, right? Big words, right? Sometimes it could be a little square arrow pointing to this. It could be me looking shocked, right? Why have these goofy looking pictures? The only reason why I do that is because that significantly increases the click-through rate. And if you can go for a very standard 5 to 10%, like 10% is like the ultimate goal, right? But if you can have a decent click-through rate, 5, 7%, that would be a good start, okay? That should be the number that you will go for. Now, once you have this in place, you're going to realize that YouTube, it's something that if you shoot a video, if it doesn't take off initially, unlike Facebook, it doesn't get buried in the feed. If you have these two metrics right, and if you're giving them what it is that they want here, over time, your channel will grow. Think of it as kind of like a piece of real estate where you build it up once and you get to collect rental on it forever. A YouTube video is kind of like the same thing. Today, I've got views for my old videos from 3 months, 6 months, a year ago, that because it's still being discovered by new people, new audiences, I'm still getting subscribers from it. And this is where the compound interest comes in. So number 2, what is number 2? The second metric that YouTube looks at. Number 2 is ultimately your, let me utilize a different color. Number 2 is your retention. So what does this mean? Okay, now it means that when a person clicks on this video, how long are people staying for this video and how good are you in retaining their attention? Now, if we understand what it is that YouTube wants, what does YouTube want? YouTube wants you to stay on this platform for all eternity. They don't want you to do anything else. They only want you binge watching their videos. That's what they're created to do, right? Sounds a little bit dark, but that's pretty much what it is that they want. So you gotta be able to create content that helps your audience stay watching this video. So how do you make sure that they are staying? Because you're gonna realize based on stats that the highest drop-off rate is usually at the start, right? And what you want to do is you want to minimize that drop-off. Okay, now how do you minimize the drop-off? Well, if you think about it, take a look at this video. How did I start off this video? Because the attention curve is usually kind of like this. There's a sharp dip at the start before it kind of like smoothens out towards the end, right? So it's always a sharp drop, and then after that, it's a much smoother drop, something like this. Okay, so the question is, how do you minimize this drop here at the start and as much as possible? Because the drop in your first 10 to 30 seconds is going to be the highest. So the way you do that is by utilization of these few techniques. Okay, number 1, to make sure you start off your video by being, I'm going to write here, congruent. You got to be congruent with your title. Your title can't be one thing and you start off with your video as a different thing, because then it feels like clickbait, right? So can you imagine if this video, the video title is like, 7 hot bikini babes revealed or something random, whatever, right? And then you'll be like, and then some people are like, oh man, let me click on that. And then all of a sudden it's just my face over there and it's like, welcome guys, this is Peng Joon's channel. They'll be like, what is going on? So then you need to have some sort of congruence, right? So how do you have congruence? By making sure you have the title as part of your open, right? So notice that the title of this video is something along the lines of, right, how to get your first 1,000 subscribers, right? So notice that in the first 10 to 30 seconds, that's what I said. I said that, I so wish when I first started out, somebody would give me this advice. And if you are somebody that's just starting your channel or you're thinking about getting your first 1,000 subscribers, then this video will be one of the most important videos that you'll need to watch, right? Congruence. You want to open by having congruence with your title so that it doesn't feel like it's clickbait. You also want to have this thing called open loops. Notice what it is that I did, right? I had an open loop at the start of this video. What was the start of this video? I pretty much said, and by the way, if you are watching this channel, if you want to be able to avoid, an entire decade of headaches so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I made, then be sure to watch the video till the end, right? I said something along those lines. What is that? That's an open loop. So please write this down. Please write down, right? Sell your audience why they should watch till the end. Right? There needs to be some sort of benefit, some sort of takeaway, some sort of open loop. So now there's a compelling reason for them to stay till the end. Okay, and that brings us to number 3. The third thing that you want to be able to do is to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to smash the like button. It does help this channel out. It doesn't cost you anything, but it allows YouTube to recommend this video right now to more people as well. If you're getting value, let me know in the comments below what is some of your biggest takeaway, and be sure to subscribe, consider subscribing to this channel if you want to be able to watch more videos just like this. Okay, so by the way, what's number 3? Number 3 is, that was a demonstration of what it is that you should be doing, okay? But number 3, the third thing that YouTube looks at is basically your watch time. What is your channel watch time? And the more you can get people watching your videos and binge watching them, this is where YouTube is going to recommend it to more people. So this is basically where you can create things like your playlist, right? So once you start creating videos, maybe nobody watches it yet, but when you have a few videos in your channel, you can start linking these videos together and start getting people to go to your other recommended videos. You could be doing this in the middle of your videos, or you could have it at the end where you will literally say, by the way, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out this specific playlist. So what is the whole purpose of this? It is to get your audience to binge watch your episodes, your videos back to back, so that as they're doing that, YouTube is starting to see, oh wait a second, click-through rate is higher, retention is higher, you're increasing the watch time, and this is when you're going to be able to show it, and YouTube's going to show it to more people. Now, I know that whenever I say this, okay, this principle here, I want to be clear about one thing. Usually, whenever I show this strategy and why it's made a huge difference for me, and why when I didn't do this, it literally took me 7 years to get to my first 1,000 subscribers. Here's what a lot of people tell me. They say, well, if you take a look at the biggest channels out there, it could be Mr. Beast, it could be PewDiePie, you're going to realize that today, these channels, they don't use this strategy, right? They don't have a keyword-rich title. It's just purely hook, right? If you take a look at, like the example I showed you just now, Mr. Beast, what was that video? The video is like, I spent 48 hours in a coffin or something, right? Obviously, there's no search-based value in that. It's just pure attention-grabbing hooks. You see, the difference is when you have a critical mass, when you have 1 million followers or 100,000 followers, that is when you can start experimenting and doing different type of videos where it might not be based on search. Why? Because you don't need to be discovered anymore. You can do any type of videos based on just pattern interrupts. So for example, Mr. Beast could create a video that says, I spent an entire day reading phone numbers of yellow pages. Right? And if he did that, chances are that video would probably get over 1 million views. Right? Why? It is because when you reach a level of critical mass, you can do whatever it is that you want. But until that happens, your first 1,000, first 10,000 is always the hardest. So how do you build up that initial critical mass? By making sure you are beginning with the end in mind, to make sure that you're creating content that is discoverable, that has got a good retention rate, that increases your watch time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you are somebody that's thinking about building up a channel, in fact, let me know what your channel is in the comments below. I'm going to be randomly following some of your channels and looking at some of your work and supporting you guys as well. So I hope you found value, and by the way, if you truly want to get good at this specific skill set, remember to binge watch this entire playlist when it comes to building a following. That's going to appear in front of your screen right now in approximately 5 seconds. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2.